Hello, I'm Think Nella. Lacking self-esteem is so common because the global population was programmed to lack self-esteem. It takes a heavy, conscious and consistent effort to build or to rebuild your self-esteem. That's why most people you encounter on a day-to-day basis are just lacking of it. Some are just better at hiding it than others. So the first pillar of self-esteem is dignity. Dignity is something both precious and extremely vulnerable. Each disrespect that you allow erodes your dignity little by little. And you know why this is so serious? It's because your dignity is something you have to carry throughout your whole life. Something can stick to you for decades and affect you in ways that you cannot imagine. Even the things that you don't consciously remember. Whenever someone disrespects you and you stick around thinking to yourself, oh, it's not that deep, ouch, it hurted, but I'll get over it. Or worse, you pretend that you don't care, when in fact you really do. You are underestimating the long-term impacts of these little moments in your life. By repeatedly letting people walk over you, over time you'll feel like you're not even entitled to have boundaries anymore. Subconsciously, asserting yourself will even make you feel like a clown, like an imposter, when remembering all the times you allowed poor treatment for the sake of keeping people around. And that memory that you experience as humiliation will be echoing in the back of your head and will prevent you from being firm later on, because you'll think that you're not even credible anymore. And that's cognitive dissonance, because there's now a gap between your core principles and what you're actually allowing. So basically, you lost yourself. These are the dramatic consequences of a breached dignity. You literally cannot have self-esteem if you don't rebuild your sense of dignity first. There's no such thing as a small disrespect. It's always that deep. And it's always potentially harmful depending on how strong the foundation is in the first place for that person. Although most people lack self-esteem, the ones who are lacking self-esteem the most are people who have endured a severe violation of their dignity, whether it's through torture, sexual assault, or some sort of public humiliation, especially during their early stages of life, because that was a breach of their core sense of self. Everyone has experienced humiliation at some point in some way. It has happened before and it's likely to happen again, but don't ever let it pierce your sense of dignity. Otherwise, you are finished. Your dignity is so sacred, and just like anything that is sacred, it is subject to attack from unbalanced, twisted, evil people. Your sense of dignity is precisely what they are targeting. That's a psychological war. They want to break you from within. They want you to not be able to look at yourself in the mirror anymore. They want you to hide. If you are feeling shame for things that people have done to you, this shame is keeping you stuck. It shrinks you, and that's exactly what they want. You're giving them what they want, no matter what you've been through, and no matter what's yet to come. Walk with your head high regardless and own it. You are still worthy, you are still to be respected, you are still important, legitimate, and you still belong. For those who went through heart-wrenching experiences that they couldn't help, I'm sincerely sorry. But for others who are in situations or relationships that they can escape, please do, because this constant drip of indignities, they will wear you down eventually. So that was the first pillar of your self-esteem, dignity. Don't ever accept anything that makes you feel diminished, disrespected, less than, and more generally, anything that you would feel ashamed of. Don't accept that, ever. Because you don't know for how long it's gonna stick to you. And if it has stick to you, you have to clear that. Now the second pillar of self-esteem I have identified is integrity. And maybe on this one you will not right away understand where I'm going, but stay with me. So integrity is the standard you hold yourself to when no one is watching and you still decide to do the right thing. Those words sound kind of old school, right? Dignity, integrity. These words are vintage nowadays. And me talking about it, I can even sound to some people like, yeah, she thinks she's morally superior to others, she thinks all that, she thinks... I never say that. But if that's the first thing that pops up in your mind, then it's likely to be true. Everybody should be living their life with integrity, treating people with respect, fairness. If me saying that we should implement integrity and dignity in our lives, that's something that triggers you, it's maybe because you're not applying that already, and that's something you have to handle on your own. But please don't come telling me, oh, she thinks she's morally superior. I never thought that in the first place, but you making that suggestion makes me believe that it might be true. Who knows? Whenever people find themselves in a situation where they're lacking integrity, that's because in that moment it's more profitable for them to not have integrity than to have it, you know? And they don't realize when they're doing that they are harming themselves, because after they can't look at themselves in the mirror. They have this closeted shame because their conscience is dirty. They can't sit with themselves. Those are the people that cannot be sober. They need to drink things away, they need to smoke things away, they need to consistently be stimulated or surrounded because they are too ashamed, but it's closeted. That's not something they're necessarily aware of. You think in the moment you're hurting the other person, but you really are just hurting yourself. That's self-sabotage, basically. If you want to feel great, do great. Be great. How do you want to feel great when all you do is petty? If you do petty, you'll feel petty. All you do is manipulation, lying, cheating. How do you expect to feel after that? Really? You can avoid accountability how you want, but your conscience is still there and it's gonna eat you up. Alone. And it's there until the day you die. Who do you think you are harming when you're doing bad things? You're just harming yourself. Have some integrity. That's for your self-esteem. To be noble in spirit, not just try to get the most expensive things. Be noble in spirit, that's something you cannot buy. Some people's minds are so corrupted. There's this mentality of win at all costs, do whatever it takes, the end justifies the means. That's crazy to me. People are doing the most crazy things and they're completely shameless about it. Please do better. You're not only harming the other, you are harming yourself. Mostly, you are harming yourself. Now, the third pillar of self-esteem is alignment. Alignment is the idea that I live a life that truly reflects who I am. Alignment builds self-esteem because it creates consistency between who you are, what you feel, and how you act. And this consistency is psychologically very stabilizing. You have to live on your purpose, follow your passions, do what makes sense to you even if it doesn't make sense to others. This coherence is going to heal you. Like, can you imagine living a life without any inner tension? Well, that's the life you're supposed to live. You're not supposed to wake up every morning with this thing in your stomach most people are having and think it's normal. Self-respect is acting on your purpose. You are disrespecting yourself daily by being misaligned. Your soul is shocking. Whenever you see a person that is bitter, it always comes from this offset between what people want to be and how they have chosen to live their life. The easiest path to self-esteem comes from alignment. Stop denying your feelings, even emotional feelings, even love. You have to live in alignment, your purpose, your missions, your feelings. You have to be honest with your essence. It's going to unlock the nodes, in you. You will manifest everything so easily. Everything will just be flowing. Alignment is honoring your essence, and that's the peak of self-love. How do you want to have a serious sense of self-esteem when you're living your life according to your parents or some sort of script, a life that was chosen for you, where nothing makes sense, where you just feel hypocritical because this life doesn't make sense to you? You don't even understand the life you're living. You're just on autopilot. Zero self-esteem can stem from that. So, the 3 pillars of self-esteem. 1. Dignity. I refuse what diminishes me. 2nd, integrity. I do what I know is right. 3, alignment. I live a life that truly reflects who I am. Along with some mental reprogrammation and learning all of the stupid limiting beliefs you have gathered up until now. Doing sport and eating healthy. If you do all that, honestly, your self-esteem is going to skyrocket. And your self-esteem sets the tone for your self-confidence. If you want further liberation, to my website where I propose some products, I propose some coachings. I also do propose subliminal audios and I do energetic healing. So this will help you love yourself more and to live a more happy and more aligned life.